Steve, you going to join us this morning? T-Rex is always ready to go. Wait. 42 degrees, just past 8 o'clock, December 19th. The barometer's on the rise. Wait. Good boy. All right, come on out. Come on, Steve. Oops. So many lines. Wow, beautiful sky. Alto cumulus. Waves in the sky. What's missing? Yeah, you know what's missing. There's no joy. There's no joy in weather that caused such hardship. Where do I start? Shall I start with the beauty? This is the back edge of that storm. The cloud stretches from just about Greenland, near the North Pole, to Colombia, South America. It's called a high amplitude trough. Air from the North Pole went down all the way into the Gulf of Mexico, and air from the Caribbean went north all the way up to near Greenland. That's what weather does. Weather is a result of differential heating of the Earth's surface by the sun, and this was an extreme event. Here's a closer up of the satellite imagery this morning. Look at the texture in the sky. All the little ripples. Gravity waves, perpendicular and parallel to the flow with shear aloft. That is, down here near the ground, the air is coming from the southwest at maybe, 10 to 20. And up in the sky, the air is coming from still more the south at up to 50 and 60 knots. On Mount Washington this morning, where we had nearly 3 inches of rain, it's 16 degrees and the wind is only 25 miles an hour. And note, it's 36 at the base of the auto road. Peak wind gust on Mount Washington yesterday, 132 miles per hour. An extreme event to be sure. There go the jets taking off, the ferries coming in. We get off quite well here in my neighborhood. We have electricity. Our roads are open. Our ferries are running. Our planes are back in the air after Logan had a shutdown yesterday. But it's not the case for a lot of people in the Northeast. Check the power outage map first. Maine and Massachusetts still with 1 million people without electricity. Not people, individuals. They go by customers in the Northeast. It's going to take days and days to clean up. And it's getting colder outside, too. This is the view Chris Carlton shared, one of his employees' home inside the house in the Carabasset Valley of Maine, near Sugarloaf. Water level inside of the house got to 2 feet here, regardless of the timing, but the week before Christmas makes it even more difficult. And how about the state of the Carabasset River still climbing straight up through major flood status this morning. So the runoff continues. Most rivers are leveling out. The bigger tributaries like the Connecticut River will keep on rising. The purple dots on this map indicate rivers that are in major flood stage. One in Rhode Island, the Patuxent and Cransett, Winooski in Vermont, 2 in Vermont, and 2 in Maine. And what about road closures this morning? You can't even get around in many of the higher elevation villages and ski resorts, especially New Hampshire and Maine. Vermont, not quite as hard hit as New Hampshire and Maine, where most of the ski areas are not operating. I think Cannon Mountain is operating. Yesterday at Sunday River, someone was there when the culvert underneath The road that goes up to the Grand Summit Hotel was ripped out by the force of the water. So that's the access road to the Grand Summit Hotel. I don't know how many people are up there or stuck up there. I'm sure there's going to be a quick, rapid build of a bridge, at least temporary bridge, to get people in and out, supplies in and out. But it's going to take places like Sunday River and Sugarloaf days, if not weeks, to get back to normal operations. If at all this season. It was 3 to 5 inches of rain. Temperature in Mount Washington only got to 41, but down here at my house it was 63, so it was record warm yesterday. And so we had that snow melt. The Jackson Falls, did you see this video? Jackson, New Hampshire, the falls, which are usually a gentle, quite steep, rocky river or stream, raging yesterday. While we're on it, looking at videos from yesterday, Cameron Barker, grad student in meteorology in Nebraska, went to the summit of Blue Hill and made some videos. Along with Matt Douglas. Yeoman coverage of the weather on Blue Hill yesterday. Matt and Cameron monitoring that wind that gusted to 90 miles an hour, the strongest wind since 1996. Cameron also says that the winds gusted to 60 miles an hour at virtually every station within I-95 in New England, which is almost unheard of. I'm sure that means from Rhode Island, not as much Western Connecticut, but Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Maine. All right, it's 7 minutes in, and I'm only on, still covering yesterday's storm. We move forward. Colder air is coming in, seasonable air, and storm-free air. There was some snow this morning in New York, and that's trying to come into Vermont, but it's really lifting out. So there's only going to be cold air for mountain operations teams to use to rebuild the snow. Now, fortunately, at Jay Peak Resort, this is how it looked this morning. So the mountain is still covered in snow, and you can see rime frost on the trees. But all these areas that are flooded and without electricity, it's going down to the teens and 20s tonight and the next several nights. Big picture of the Atlantic Ocean. That 1050 millibar high pressure system. So high pressure had as much to do with this storm as low pressure. And if you look on the south side of that high, a couple of other storms are rotating towards the west and towards the northwest, but they're going to stay out over the open Atlantic. So we're going to miss those. We're going to have a new high pressure system building in southeastern Canada. And with a couple of perturbations coming along, there may be some snow showers here or there, but the big story is going to be just the chill and quiet weather through the weekend. Now, if we go forward into next week, looks like a nice, quiet Christmas. There may be something off to our south. And then the next, we may not have a Monday storm next week. That would be the first time in 5 weeks. Yesterday was the 4th consecutive Monday storm. And next Wednesday into Thursday, green is rain, blue and snow, and purple is ice. The next huge mess is probably about 8 or 9 days away. Chased yesterday over to the marina. It was pretty fascinating, but also ugly. Some of the boats got totally drenched inside with the shrink wrap ripping off. So 1.5 in the gauge yesterday. Another 0.64. So about 2.1 was the rainfall for me. And again, I live on the south side of a hill, so I didn't get near the wind impact. Now, the flag did rip off. There was a time lapse yesterday. The flag was there, and then right after noontime, the flag was not there. The line broke. So the line breaking is better than the pole breaking, but now I got to get up there somehow. I got to pull this pole down. So that has to come off. That stable in the back has to come off, and I have to pull it down and put a line through that loop up there. And I have to climb down there and get that flag out of there. Nothing compared to what so many thousands of people experienced from this extreme weather event. Extreme weather events are not new. They've been happening, and this has been quite a year for us in the rainfall department. But I would say this was probably the most costly, widespread disaster of the season. I mean, it was almost like a hurricane that went inland. Often you get disasters with hurricanes, but it's usually limited to the coast. Tropical storms usually have the flooding. So this one was more like a winter hurricane. Very sad. All right, we're gonna try and stay upbeat as much as we can. Someone asked, on YouTube, one of the comments, what if this was snow? Well, if it was more of a winter storm, obviously it was a winter storm, it was wintertime, but your dew point would not have climbed into the 50s. Your dew point would have been in the 20s and 30s, so you would not have had the water vapor available to produce 3 to 5 inches of liquid equivalent. So we would just go by, okay, it was an intense storm that lasted in some cases more than 24 hours. So it would have been probably more of a 1 to 3 foot snowstorm, not a 30 to 70 inch snowstorm, because you just don't have the moisture available when it's that cold. So that's a good question. It would have been a 1 to 3 foot snowstorm, and we would be rejoicing. It had been such a great season so far for many of the ski resorts, and now this setback. Can't imagine the financial costs in addition to the infrastructure costs and time and efforts, but I'm sure everyone's going to be working hard to get us back in shape as soon as possible. All right, here's my ventures out into the storm yesterday. Plenty of and more, just observing the weather fittingly with my mentor Don Kent's son, Doug Kent, who grew up, as you know, right here. All right, talk to you tomorrow. Squall line coming right over us right now. It's 11:48, so this is the worst of it. I've seen some damage, some fences knocked down. There's another one right there going over the marina. Some poles knocked into trees. It's amazing we still have electricity here. North Weymouth. We say we pull into Bert's boatyard. Today's Bert's birthday. Dad in heaven, probably tapping the barometer. Not good. All that work, shrink wrapping, have it come off like that. All right, hold on, opening this door right now. The wind's kind of behind me. There's a black pole rack and the wind won't stop. Let's go into the wind. The squall line. Yeah, really intense. Good idea going into the wind right now. Should have wore a bathing suit instead of jeans. Live shot right here, but I don't think you'd be able to hear me. So this is Bert's boatyard. And the southerly wind comes right up the bay, the river here, adjacent to Braintree and Four River Bridge right over there, but you can't see it. Alright, I think that might be the worst of the wind and the rain for us for today. Damage is done though. As Dad used to say, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Don't like this in December, 65 with tropical downpours. Oh well, maybe it'll repay us in February. 1 o'clock, let's go out the flaps again. Getting kind of interesting between downpours, not as windy. And it looks like the eye of the storm. Well, not the eye, because it's not a hurricane. However, there is some blue sky there, so the sun is coming out in spots. And there's another line of convection. You can see the cumulus behind those masts, with the wind having really let up in the last few minutes. But we have hours and hours to go. It's not supposed to be over till 5, so about another 4 hours or so. That's tight shrink wrap right there. Solid. Jetstream's doing fine. Most of the boats did fine. And now, almost trying to get sunny here a little bit. There it is. The sun is out. We made it. Dry slot. North Weymouth. Vintage dry slot. And now all of a sudden it's the look and feel of Florida in New England on December 18th. Tropical downpours, sun and showers. I hear the wind gusted to 90 miles per hour on top of Blue Hill today. Not a hurricane, so it's not an eye. Just happens to be calm and warm and partly sunny at 1 o'clock in North Weymouth, Massachusetts. Oh my goodness, this is just gorgeous. Look at all that blue sky. I want to show you the backside of that last downpour that just went by. Look at that, 2 different level clouds. A bunch of birds. Hello, birds. Did you come north in the eye of the storm? Jet's boat, no problem. Boat next to it, no problem. What is it? Here comes like round 5. There's a track. Comes another round, or at least in the second half, or maybe even the fourth quarter of the storm.